Hey, Charlie, uh, why did you decide to keep playing, and what about the Orioles is appealing to you?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've been uh weighing that decision every offseason for the past 4 or 5 years, frankly. Um, but I think it was definitely towards the end of last year. Um, we were in a tight race for the wild card spot, and I felt like my year hadn't gone how I had hoped, um and I really wasn't thinking about it a whole lot. I was thinking more about trying to take it all in because I thought that there was a really good chance that that was going to be my last year. And I got a chance to pitch in a couple games down the stretch in my last start. I remember walking off the field and just this like sinking feeling in my stomach that it just didn't feel right. And I'm sure a lot of guys towards the end of their careers they have they think about retiring, shutting it down, and you really want to walk off the field the last time and feel good about it. And a lot of guys don't get that opportunity. I just didn't feel good about it. I felt like I could have um, done better. I felt like I still had the tools to be a good pitcher in the big leagues, and um, I think that definitely had a large impact on the decision to play. But that wasn't it. It wasn't solely, man, I just didn't feel good about it. Because there's no guarantee that you feel good about it. There's no guarantee it ends how you want it to end. But I think that definitely contributed. I think knowing that I can still do it and wanting to play. I'll always want to play baseball. I always want to, I'll always miss it when I'm done. Uh, but I think when I started thinking about it and really testing that decision um, with my family, my wife and my kids, really thinking about um, if that's how I wanted to walk away. Then I started to really, uh, I started to listen to my agents just to see, because I was really on the fence, even just whether or not I wanted to hear if there were any offers. And uh, I started to think about it. I think I was awarded enough time to sit back and think about it in the off season. Um, and when the Orioles called, there were a couple of teams that called that I think uh, would just work logistically with myself and my family because I do want to be somewhat close. The Orioles have spring training here where I call home, um, and they're close to my wife's family. They're close to my family. Frankly, my mom and my sister are up in Richmond, Virginia. Going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina. My wife's family's in Delaware and New Jersey. So um, just the logistics of it, which do play a part. And then there's the team. There's the group of guys that are in that clubhouse that have done some special things um, and a chance to be a part of that group and getting to know the guys and getting to know the staff and the city of Baltimore, which I've loved playing when we visited, and um, they're just a really talented group and young and exciting. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, and after thinking about all of that, um, you know, my I decided, and my wife supports me, my kids support me, to give it a shot. So I don't think it was any one factor, but just kind of how it all came together.
Next question is from Jake Rill with MLB.com.
Hey Charlie, what do you feel like's been the key that you've been able to be pitching this long? I mean, not a lot of guys go this long into their careers and they're still pitching as many innings as you have in recent years. I mean, why do you feel like you've still been able to have success and still be a big league pitcher at this age?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's complicated. I think it's I, because I can look back. I look back, shoot, 10 years ago, and to my the last pitches that I threw as a Pittsburgh Pirate as a sinker baller, and uh, and to know how much I have changed, um, how personally, professionally, physically, I've changed. I've changed my delivery, I've changed my workouts. There have been times where I changed what I ate, or just try to be more cognizant of um, just pretty much everything that I was doing with my body, whether that was my mechanics or whatever, my pitch mix. Um, I've been able to stay relatively healthy for the past 7 or 8 years. Um, and I started to get a better idea of what I was doing in my delivery and I think throwing away that doesn't hurt. Um, because I had my left hip, my right hip, both surgery. I had TJ in 12, and I had a hamstring surgery in 16, and um, I thought that was probably pretty much the end of it. After that 16 season, I was like, man, uh, if I could get a chance to sign on a major league deal after the 16 season, the Astros signed me to a 2-year deal, and I went in there and they were just like, hey man, you need to throw four seamers up. You need to throw hard and try to strike guys out and get swing and miss stuff. And I never heard that before. So I've been able to step on and rely on my curveball a lot. Um, so that's allowed me some grace to make some mistakes. Um, having a good secondary pitch that has developed into a primary pitch essentially. And um, I think I have the levers to still throw hard enough, and I've been able to stay in decent shape, well enough uh, to produce the force that I need to throw hard enough, uh, and I'm sure a lot of it's just luck. Like to this point, that elbow, the UCL repair, my shoulder's been decent. I don't know. I mean, I could talk about each of those things, whether it's the workouts or it's the mix or it's the mechanics. I could go on about it, but I just don't think it's any one thing.
Next question is from Matt Wayrick with the Baltimore Sun.
Hey Charlie, welcome to Baltimore. As I'm sure you
Thanks.
know, you're joining a young clubhouse here with very little postseason experience. As someone who's been through deep in the playoffs, two World Series, what do you think you can bring to this clubhouse as far as a veteran presence, and maybe somebody who could help, get through what has become a hump here in Baltimore?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to say that I have the answers. I don't. I think that as an individual, you fit in um, different ways to different group and with different groups of guys. I'm not going to be the same guy that I was with the Rays in the clubhouse. I'm not going to be the same guy that was in the Astros or the Braves clubhouse. Because each person in those rooms, um, they're just a piece of that larger puzzle. And I think, while I am the same person, I think there are just different factors that direct you towards behaving a certain way. I think I probably felt like I took on a little more of a leadership role in that Rays clubhouse because it was so young. Um, but I think really the value to a person in the clubhouse is the human being that they are and how much they care about their teammates and how much they care about their coaches and the people that they work with on a day-to-day basis, whether they're, this is someone that works at the stadium or as the medical staff or anybody that you're around. The what you do on the field, while that's the main focus and that's the priority, um, that's not necessarily how you impact the clubhouse. I can impact the clubhouse by being present for my teammates and caring about them, getting to know them on a personal level, a deeper level. Um, and that comes with time, that comes after time, where you can actually sit down with somebody and talk to them and look them in the eye and have real conversations. Um, and I haven't done that yet. So I think that's the main priority is getting in there and getting to know the guys and spending time, um, getting to know who they are, where they come from, um, and things like that. Um, but I think, it's like if you truly care about the guys that are to your left and your right, I think everything will take care of itself.
Next question is from Stan Charles with Press Box Online.
Charlie, welcome to Baltimore.
Thanks, Dan.
And I wanted to ask you two things real quick. Do you have much of a relationship with Drew French, your pitching coach here in Baltimore? And the other thing is, what would eventually dim your competitive desire to be out there?
Yeah, I know Frenchie well. Um, he was with the Astros when I was there. I didn't get to know him, um, but I just certainly did in Atlanta. Um, and I really was excited to see him with Atlanta, and I really appreciated my time with him in Atlanta. Um, it was just a different, it was just a different capacity because I think the position that he was in, um, and the position that Cranny was in, it lended itself to working with Cranny more often, because Cranny was the head pitching coach. I think that's that dynamic that's typical. But certainly I was excited for Frenchie to get a job, a well-deserved job with Baltimore, and that was definitely a factor, I think, um, in my comfort and my conviction to signing with the Orioles. I mean, he'll be a huge part of that experience and in my time with Baltimore because I mean that's you know it's like I trust Frenchie. I know him. Um, he's a good man. He's a good family guy, and I'm excited to get to work with him. As the head pitching coach. Um, I don't know about the desire to playing baseball going away. I don't think that'll ever happen. I think it would uh I think it's just a recognition that it's time. Whether that's um starting to feel like you don't really belong. Or maybe you realize you can't do it any longer, or maybe it's just a willingness to walk away. And I think a lot of guys and most guys probably do struggle with all of those things. They probably do struggle with decision making and when it's the right time. Fortunately, to this point, I've been able to be given the opportunity to make that decision. I have it made for me. That also has made it more difficult. So I think and I hope that at least for this year that Um, the reason why I'm walking away isn't because of my performance or my health, and I'm doing it because it's just time. But I'll always love the game of baseball. I'll always miss it, and it's been a part of my life now. Professional baseball has been a part of my life for over half of my life. So it will be a lifestyle change and all that. But I think I've just been fortunate, and like I said, you know, I'm I'm hoping that it's because I decided to just walk away.
Next question is from Steve Molesky with MASNsports.com.
Charlie, you mentioned a few years ago being encouraged to maybe go for more strikeouts, and the numbers say go back to 2017, you're one of the best in the game, whether it's overall strikeouts, K per nine, however you want to look at it. How big is swing and miss to your game, even as you've gotten older?
Yeah, the way it was explained to me when I sat down in the Astros are uh this is 7 years ago now, or more. I sat down in they had a little boardroom, and they had a projection screen up on, and they had these graphs and these charts up on the screen, and the they were suggesting to me to throw pitches in locations where I would get no swings or swing and miss. Um, so it was like four seamer at the top. Well, I'd never really done that before. It was more of like a show me your waist pitch, where you kind of aim it at the top of the zone and then you try to miss at the top or above and just kind of show a hitter that you're willing to go there. Or, you maybe you try to get to chase the 1-2-0-2 breaking ball. And if it doesn't work out, you just go back to the sinker and you hope that they put the ball in play and put it on the ground. The backdoor two seamer, it was like, but I argued with them. I said, but I like going down and into righties, because I get contact early, I get the ball on the ground. And they said, well, no contact is actually what we prefer. We don't want them to hit the ball, because if they don't hit the ball, nothing bad happens. So that was kind of when I started to think about, man, like I I was really struggling with that idea, because for 7 years with Pittsburgh, I'd been trying to get the ball on the ground, and then they're telling me in three pitches or less, and then they're telling me like, don't let him hit it. But it's you find out how fun that is when you're on the mound, and the fate isn't, you're not relying on the fate of where the ball's going. You're relying on your stuff um, to. It's like, sure, I mean, could you throw a 90 pitch complete game and get a bunch of ground outs? And that was always my goal. Like, I very rarely did that, but it's like you work in the seventh, eighth inning and you feel good about that. Um, but there's definitely a different type of reward that you feel when you get strikeouts or you get swing and miss. I'm not sure what's better for the game. I'm not sure what's better for pitchers long term. I just know that um, my results and how I've been valued in the game since my days with Pittsburgh, um, it's been night and day. I think people would definitely say that I'm a much better pitcher, um, 2017 to now, than I was, '08 to 15 as a sinker baller. So this is my personal experience and the opportunities I've gotten and the games that I pitched in, um, those opportunities have all come essentially, aside from one postseason start, which means a lot to me in 2013 with Pittsburgh. Everything else has been 2017 after. So I still do. I work out the same way. I try to get my arm right to throw hard and to spin the ball, and um, that's my goal. From a physical standpoint, from a delivery standpoint, my goal is to optimize my body to throw the best stuff that I can for the longest that I can.
Next question's from David O'Brien with The Athletic.
Hey, Charlie.
Hi, Dave.
How you doing, man? Did you if you were disappointed at all that the Braves that it didn't work out with the Braves, or were you looking past that at a certain point? Did you make up your mind it's not going to happen? How did that transpire? What can you share regarding the Braves?
I don't know. I consider Alex a friend, and um, I I I don't know what they're going through. I don't know what they're up against or what their goals are in terms of their roster. And I don't take anything personally. I think that I'll always care about everyone in that clubhouse and all the guys that I spent the last 4 years with. And um, I get the business side of things, and there's things that can't be said and you know divulged, and people would never say to me, because it's not their obligation to do that. I don't have a right, and I don't need to know what happened. I think going into the off season, um, having been a Brave for the past 4 years and having gone through a lot with the guys in the clubhouse and in your top to bottom organization, um, you feel like you belong. You feel like you're part of a family, a larger family. Um, there's just so many people there that have meant a lot to me and my family that have, made the past 4 years extremely special. And uh, I didn't know what to expect because that's not, I'm not privy to that information of what they need or what they want. So, as far as I know, there wasn't a ton of exchange of numbers or anything like that. I really don't know. All I know is that it didn't nothing manifested with the Braves. And I've been in the game long enough to know that there are there are a myriad of factors that could contribute to something like that. But when BB and Andrew let me know that there were a couple other teams interested, and one of them was the Orioles. Cindy and I started talking about it, and we started to think that, um, if if you have to make a decision, which I feel like I did, I had to make a decision whether or not I was going to keep playing, and then you start to have, you make a decision about where and if anyone that you would be interested in playing for is interested in you. Um, the Orioles just started to make more and more sense, and um, I wish nothing but the best for the guys over there, and um, I'll miss them. I'll cherish the times we had and everything that the ups and downs, and uh, but I think that we're landing in a really good spot.
Thanks, Charlie.
Charlie, our last
Thanks,
question is
Dave.
going to come from Nick Testoni with WBAL Radio.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Nick.
I was just curious, when you had your conversation with the Orioles, if maybe there was a conversation about not just being a key contributor to the rotation, but also you have a ton of experience more than a lot of the pitching staff. Was there some type of talk of you also being, a leader in the pitching side of things, like a mentor, or maybe that's just something you feel you would take on yourself?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I think that I know, talking to Mike and Brandon, and I know that, um, the guys are young, and I know that, they're, uh, that you might have experiences or some insight into moments that you've experienced yourself. And I think that, like, it's like when you get to know guys, um and they trust you and you can have those kinds of conversations. I think that's where the value is. I'm not sure that, me walking into a clubhouse and, um from some kind of pedestal or somewhere I'd put myself because of something that I've experienced is necessarily a good way to look at it from my perspective. I just don't work that way, um, socially or professionally. Um, I think, frankly, that wouldn't be my genuine self or my authentic self. I don't think that I've ever excelled at doing that. I think, yeah, sure. I mean, could I talk to a room? Could I have things to say? Yeah, I'm sure that opportunity could arise, but I think, the value, in my natural inclinations are to be, um, caring um, and truly interested in getting to know people, and from there, forming relationships where there's trust, and um, that's when I think I can have those conversations. Um, Also, like, it's like the best clubhouse guys that I've been around, or you call them glue guys for a reason, is because they can help transcend, cultural differences or age differences or experience level differences or um, things like that. And on a day-to-day basis, that's where the impact is made, because the season's just too long. It's too long to walk into a clubhouse and get, 110% fired up for every single game and um and feeling like you're full throttle the whole time. Um the good teams that I've been on, the guys care about each other, and the guys know that each guy is giving what they have that day. And at the end of the season, you look back and you're like, man, we're in a pretty good spot and we're a good team. Um, so um, I don't know. No one's asked me, to get up and to stand up in front of a group and give a speech or a lecture or talk about all the things that I've done or the players that I've been able to play with, or that's not happened. But like I said, I'm looking forward to getting in there and spending time with each guy, and hopefully I can add something or something if it's anything that anybody needs at any time.
Great. Charlie, really appreciate your time today and everybody for being on the Zoom. But thanks again, Charlie, and we'll look forward to seeing you in Baltimore.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.